This episode of Wine and Crime is brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies.
Try it at progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
You know it, or maybe Missouri accents. What is a Missouri accent?
General Midwestern accents.
Yeah.
The land famously of no accent.
Oh, so they say,
well, we're
hold my beer.
We're the North Midwest.
Yeah.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda.
Today we have a very, very special fan pick that actually, just a few minutes ago, I was like, oh, this episode should be easy. The topic's fairly benign. And I was like, I don't know, like, it might be short, but I was like, just a warning, my case is really dark. And she's
I was like,
so is mine.
Mine too. One of the, it's bad. It's bad. I don't know. This always happens to us when we have like a state or a specific city. I don't know why we do this.
Why do we do this?
Why do we do this to you and ourselves?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of fucked up shit that goes on in this particular location. This fan pick is chosen by Regan Ebert.
Regan! Isn't Regan the name of the girl from The Exorcist?
I think so.
Fuck me! Fuck me! Hear that, Regan?
Yeah, hear that, Reagan? Reagan has chosen the topic of Kansas City crimes.
Yes, the sweet city of Kansas.
Well, yes, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Last time I was in Kansas City was for the Oddities and Curiosities Expo.
Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to Oddities and Curiosities in my case.
That's where I got one of my minks.
Oh.
I think this one.
Oh, Jesus. Your soft mount. Oh, ew. That's the one that is so rigid.
Well, there's two. Look. I have two. Oh, yeah. This one's flaccid. Yeah, I got the rigid one at the Oddities show. This one has a clip on it so you can clip it to your lapel. This one's just stuffed.
You're sick.
Someone went around finding these limp ones because they were like ladies' fashion, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, oh, sad, they're flat. So this person just would buy them up and just fill them with foam.
Make beanie babies.
To make them whole again.
Ugh.
Fix their eyes and whatnot.
Thanks, person.
That was really fun. That was the last time I was in Kansas City.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Oddly dark city.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to.
Some fucked up shit happened here, people.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Well, before we get to that, Amanda, what's our wine crime pairing for Kansas City crimes?
Well, for today, only the blessed living in nearby and able to access the stores that carry this in and around Kansas City are really going to be able to imbibe. I did go to their order wines tab and they don't ship to Minnesota. But when we are... Not if, but when we do a Kansas City live show, we're definitely going to have to go here. And, I'm just going to put it into the universe. They do have event space. Maybe they want to host us.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It would be super fun. So hopefully I'm not going to butcher the pronunciation of this winery, but I wanted to shout out the Amigoni Urban Winery in Kansas City. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and they have a lot of wines to choose from. They have Merlot, they have Cab Franc, they have a Viognier, they have a freaking Rosé. I think they have a very tasty looking Sauv Blanc. All of their selection just looks really, really beautiful. They produce small lots of dry handcrafted wines, which, talk to me about a dry wine and I am sat. I am all in. They do this in the Stockyards district of Kansas City's historic West Bottoms.
Ooh.
And they focus on traditional European grape varietals like what I mentioned, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, and Viognier. They are locally made wines. They're made with grapes grown in their vineyard, the Amigoni Vineyard, which is just about 60 miles east of Kansas City. So their winery is like more in the city, and then their farm, their vineyard, is just a little bit outside of the city.
Urban Winery.
Yeah. They grow in Centerview, Missouri, and they also get some from grape growers in the Lodi AVA, American Viticultural Area, which is in the northern portion of California's Central Valley. So they do have some access to California-grown wines. So it is, a lot of it's locally grown. It's all locally made, but they do bring in some grapes from California so that they can really make the varietals that they want to be making, and probably to achieve that drier flavor profile in their wines, because it can be really hard to make dry wines in a Midwest climate. Just the way that...
Is that why they're all like table wines?
It's just the grapes that grow in the Midwest tend to be on the sweeter side because they're just like a hardier fruit.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in Minnesota, like the big grape that we grow here, or the big wine that we have here, is Marquette. And those Marquette grapes are like not super different from Concord grapes. And they were like made at the University of Minnesota through like genetic splicing or whatever. But you need to have a really hardy grape that's going to be able to survive a short growing season.
Good point.
So it's really smart to supplement with some wines that can like grow a little bit slower and mature on the vine so that they're not like so overly sweet. So yeah, if you are in that area, their website is really great. It's Amigoni or Amigoni.com, AMIGONI.com. They have a really awesome store locator. So if you go to like Our Wines, they have a wine finder tab, and they will list like every liquor store that sells it. They've got it at Hy-Vee on Rice Road, Hy-Vee on 64th Street. But you can also go into their gorgeous winery. You can do tastings, you can do tours, you can book events. It just looks like an amazing space. So I wanted to shout them out while I, in the middle of the afternoon and with a work shift this evening, drink sparkling water. I'm a responsible adult.
Yes, I'm proud of you.
So please tag us and them if you are drinking along, because I want to see what you bought. And I want to support this amazing business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta support the local businesses.
You got to. Kansas City. You got the best barbecue, and this winery looks super dope.
Well, I'm down for barbecue and wine.
Me too. Yum.
Well, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors before I tell you about a really horrific incident.
Great. Do you have an event, or maybe somebody to get gifts for, or maybe some photos to like put around your house, or maybe you just really want a really cool sign for something amazing? Let me tell you, Easy Canvas Prints makes cherishing life's precious moments easier than ever. You can get affordable and fully customized canvases and photo gifts like photo tiles, mugs, pillows, and more shipped fast. I need a pillow with just like my husband's face on it.
Gross.
Just for funsies.
He'll
Don't
steal
you?
it. Yes, of course. I want a pillow with your face on it.
Oh my God. Let's get each other's faces and each other's husbands' faces, but then we keep our own husbands, but then we swap our faces, and then we don't tell them why we're doing it.
We can do all of this and more. With hundreds of combinations to choose from, Easy Canvas Prints has the perfect gift for any occasion. Bring your memories to life with Easy Canvas Prints. Like Amanda said, if you have an event coming up, this was so easy, so fast, and so affordable that if you just, like if it's like an anniversary party, and you'll get like a big old canvas of like you and your husband.
Oh,
this is perfect
wedding
for
photos.
That.
Yeah.
Yes, wedding photos. So order now on www.easycanvasprints.com/gals for a discount on 16 by 20 canvases. As you probably know by now, I got weird boobs. One of them is significantly bigger than the other one. Post-child, they are not the same as they were before. I have dramatically different boobs now. And finding a bra that fits and feels good has been a challenge, but Honeylove has totally pulled through for me.
Yep.
So whether or not you have problems finding like a bra that fits your bod well and makes you look and feel good, or you're just hunting for a new comfortable bra, you've got to check out Honeylove. For a limited time, you can get Honeylove on sale. Treat yourself to 20% off your entire order by heading to honeylove.com/wine. Support the show and check them out because you deserve this kind of glow up.
I am obsessed with Honeylove bras, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm super tired of bras that cause like a back bulge.
Yep.
Like, smooth me out. It's not comfortable. I don't like it. Honeylove's bras are designed with back smoothing fabric to prevent the bra bulge, the dreaded bra bulge. Check out their V-neck bra. This is a miracle bra. This is a totally smooth fit underclothing, and it offers the support of a traditional bra without the uncomfortable underwire. It has molded cups that are designed to lift and separate, so you're not going to have like the uniboob shelf. I'm obsessed. It's such a cute bra. So treat yourself to the most comfortable and innovative bras on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/wine. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/wine. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the new standard in bras with Honeylove. Finding the right mental health care should be simple and affordable, but unfortunately for many, it's really not. There's long wait times, there's high costs, there's difficulty finding the right provider, and this can make even just like the action of getting help feel so overwhelming that a lot of people don't feel like it's worth doing. But we're telling you, it is worth doing, and that is where Rula comes in. Rula connects you with in-network licensed therapists that accept most major insurance. Their users typically have a copay of $15 per session, making therapy more accessible than ever.
It is hard to commit to like in-person therapy, even though it's just as necessary as like taking care of your physical health. But finding a therapist and like kind of working through all that red tape is not fun. So Rula is really incredible when it comes to that. With a network of 15,000 plus licensed providers across more than 100 specialties, Rula also ensures you get care tailored to your needs. You can also see a therapist in as little as 24 hours, crucial, so you can get the support you need without financial stress. More than making therapy accessible and affordable for you, Rula stays with you through your journey, ensuring that you're really getting the help that you need, that you're matched with the right provider, and that you're making real progress. Every therapist is carefully vetted, so you are in expert hands. Getting started is easy. You just answer a few quick questions, and Rula will match you with in-network therapists that fit your needs.
So start your mental wellness journey today. Visit rula.com/gals. That's RULA.com/gals. For convenient insurance-covered therapy that fits your life. Join the thousands who have already turned to Rula for support on their journey to better mental health and well-being. Getting started is easy. Just finish rula.com/gals today. When you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. Please support our show by letting them know we sent you. It's a simple way to help us while you take the first step toward the care that you deserve. Go to RULA.com/gals now and connect with a licensed therapist who truly cares. Your mental health matters.
Okay. We're back. Are you ready for my segment and a case?
I guess I am.
Well, we'll have some fun before we get to the bloodshed.
Okay, let's do it.
So, as you might know, Kansas City is in Missouri, not Kansas. Kansas and Missouri are right fucking next to each other. Kansas City is right across the river from the state of Kansas.
Bill and I stayed there and had some delicious barbecue on our little Route 66 road trip. We hopped down Route 66 through there.
Cute.
Yeah, so cute.
I didn't know it went all the way up to Kansas City.
It starts in Chicago and ends in California. It goes pier to pier from, I think, Navy Pier in Chicago to Santa Monica Pier in California.
Oh,
So it comes like down and then goes through Texas, and we just took
Route
it
66 crimes.
We totally should. We just took it to Arizona and we went up into Phoenix and then Flagstaff and then came back through Utah, Nebraska, Colorado, yada, yada, yada. It was a super fun trip. It was crazy. We did it in like 10 days. We were nuts.
Was that COVID time?
Yep.
A lot of road trips around that time.
Yep.
Okay, so Kansas City is primarily in Missouri with a population of about 2.4 million residents in the greater metro area. And that greater metro also includes Kansas City, Kansas.
Yep.
So it's a big area. It's right on the Missouri River.
And the river splits the two Kansas cities.
It kind of splits them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make Kansas City the largest city in the state of Missouri.
Cool.
So we'll come back to this, but pre-European settlement, this area was originally inhabited by the Hopewell tradition. So lots of tribes moving around and trading with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippian culture, the Kansa, the Osage, the Oto, and the Missouri peoples. During the 1700s and until the Louisiana Purchase, the area was heavily utilized by the French and Spanish for fur trade.
Okay.
So they were kind of the first Europeans in the area. Post-purchase, PP, Lewis and Clark visited the area, which, so like I said, the Missouri River kind of splits it, but also the Missouri is joined up with the Kansas River.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a confluence. And so Lewis and Clark were like, this would be a great place to build a fort because boys love forts.
Yep.
Then, so there were some people living there. There was some little bit of trade going on. Then the Mormons showed up, crashed the party, wouldn't stop flipping.
The ding-dang Mormons wouldn't stop flipping.
Joseph Smith and his group built a school at this site, but they were run out of town by a mob in 1833.
Mm-hmm.
So bye. Meanwhile, in 1830, a guy named John McCoy founded the settlement that he called Westport because it's in the west, and it's a port because it's got all the boats from down the Missouri River.
I see that very clever. I see what they did there.
Yep. So this area is now basically at the intersection of Westport Road and Pennsylvania Avenue in Kansas City. It is a sort of a cultural center, an entertainment district, if you will. So John built an outfitter to supply people heading out west. People heading down the Santa Fe Trail.
Sure.
They'd go through here and he'd be like, here, I'll sell you some extra boots, extra oxen, Oregon Trail stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So by the mid-1800s, the area had churches, courtrooms, wagon makers, grocery stores, among small frame homes. Like I said, today the area is called the Westport Entertainment District.
Got it.
A lot of the original buildings are gone because this was almost 200 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there are still some historical buildings being preserved. So John McCoy, after he established Westport, he decided to kind of team up with some other rich guys to buy up a bunch of property along the river to develop it.
Okay.
This included the area of Westport. So they decided to name this whole town that they were mapping out and planning to build. They were calling it the Town of Kansas. And they named that after the Kansa tribe that also lived kind of along the river there in the area.
Okay.
So this is all happening on the Missouri side of the river. The state of Missouri then incorporated the area on their side of the river as the city of Kansas in 1853 and eventually renamed it in 1889 Kansas City.
Okay.
So they were calling
it rolls off the tongue a lot better than the city of Kansas.
Yes.
Imagine
Kansas
writing that on
City.
every goddamn envelope.
Ugh. Yeah, it's too much.
Too much.
During this time, other settlements were developing across the river on the Kansas side in the Wyandotte County.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these small towns incorporated and called themselves Kansas City, Kansas. So they were just kind of copying, but they were like, well, we're in a different state. And our state's named Kansas.
Yeah, so it's ours.
Yeah. So some of, so that was in 1872-ish. By naming this town after the growing city on the Missouri side of the state line, city leaders in Kansas were able to capitalize on the success of Kansas City, Missouri. So they kind of stole some of their clout.
Okay.
Because Kansas City, Missouri had become this very bustling, wealthy area with all those trades. They were like, well, we're Kansas City too.
Yeah. Suck
What are you going to do about it? It's possible that the people in Kansas felt that they had more right to the name Kansas City than the people of Missouri.
You know what? Kind of fair.
I I think it's fair.
I get it.
It's still like...
What a burn to have Kansas, the better Kansas City, be in Missouri.
I know.
Sorry about it.
But they were there first.
Yeah.
Well, not we know who was there first.
Precisely.
Yeah.
They colonized it first.
Exactly. Okay, they do have a flag.
Yes.
It's a bit fallopian.
Oh, runs to the drive.
There are several of them on there. Don't say anything yet.
That's a uterus.
So I found a whole ass NPR article about Kansas City's flag. So they have a flag now, but the flag previous to that was like amended, like installed in 1995. So that one has 3 vertical stripes. We got blue on the left, white in the middle, red on the right. Mm-hmm. And in the middle, there's someone made a choice. It looks like a heart shaped, but it's like made out of hair. It looks like a hairy heart.
It's lines. Growing.
Yeah. So it says City of Fountains. So that's supposed to evoke a fountain.
Sure.
Heart of a nation, because it's sort of in the shape of a heart, although that's not the first thing that I pick up on when I look at it. The heart
of it all is not translating for me in this graphic design, but...
Me neither.
That's okay.
And then it says Kansas City, Missouri underneath that. Mm-hmm. So the fountain hair, I gotta say, is not my favorite part of this design.
Oh, and it looks like fallopian tubes.
Yeah. But the flag got an update in 2023, which is when this NPR article was written. But unfortunately, the fountain hair was like the one element that they kept consistent. Mm-hmm. The new flag. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is from NPR. The design process for the new flag was led by Kansas City's creative director, Jared Horman, with contributions from city communications director, Melissa Kozakowicz, and members of the communications team. So like all of the city workers.
Yeah.
I didn't know a city had a creative director.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, you have to put a lot of graphic design on all kinds of shit for your city.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It's just like...
It could be a cool job.
You get your office mates together and you're like, let's design a new fucking flag.
Yep.
That's just cool. I mean, I guess I don't know how else it would really work, but
right.
I just liked it. So the design is reminiscent of flags adopted in 1992 and 1972. So the City of Fountains thing has been it's been done before. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Red and blue horizontal stripes back a white fountain emblem, which is symbolic of Kansas City being the heart of the nation and the City of Fountains, as we've been over before. The red represents the warm hearts of the people of the Midwest and celebrates Kansas City kindness. The blue represents the city from river to sky. Blue celebrates the relationship with the Missouri River and the expansive possibility of prosperity. Mm. So Ted Kay, a flag expert, secretary of the North American Vexillological Association, and author of the book Good Flag, Bad Flag, How to Design a Great Flag.
Okay.
Says, quote,
oh my God.
I love the title of his book.
Good flag, bad flag, how to design a great flag.
So Ted says, when we wrote the book, American City Flags in 2004, which covered 150 American city flags, Kansas City had more flags in its history than any other of the 150 flags surveyed.
Girl!
She likes to reinvent.
She's a flag hag.
She's a flag hag. She is.
Yeah.
The current flag is the 5th flag since the pennant was adopted in 1913. So there is a picture that has all of the flags.
There is.
But
I'm looking at it.
He says this new one is good because it's legible, symbolic, and simple. Mm-hmm. We've talked about states revamping their flags.
Yeah.
A couple times recently.
Yeah. Minnesota did it.
But there's like a new wave of it because people are realizing there's a lot of racist symbols.
1,000%. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. So vexillology is important.
So important.
It's very important to understand.
What we're doing is important.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So today, that's it. That's all I have for background.
I mean, what else do we need to say?
Kansas City.
What else do we need to say?
Today, I'm going to tell you about an incident.
No.
In May of 1978, construction began on the Hyatt Regency, Kansas City. They were building a 40-story hotel. So just a little bit of background on the United States at this time. This was in an era of like fast tracking construction, cutting corners, getting projects done like as soon as possible, because getting these contracts in the first place was really competitive at the time. We had very high unemployment, double-digit interest rates, and yeah, like I said, there was a lot of pressure on these contractors to get work done as quickly as possible, particularly on like large-scale projects.
Sure.
Like arenas and apartment buildings, things like that. So there were some setbacks from the start with the hotel, including the collapse of a 2,700 square foot section of the roof.
Oh, no. Oh, that's like one of my greatest fears is being in a building and it collapsing.
Well, there was another incident. So in 1979, also in Kansas City, there was the collapse of the Kemper Arena roof.
Oh, God.
So this arena is where they hosted like all sorts of like sports tournaments and
yeah.
But I think it was empty at the time. Nobody got hurt.
Thank God. That's like, it was empty when the Metrodome roof collapsed too. That was from snow.
Yeah. Another arena was the collapse of the roof of the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. That one was, I think all of these were from snow.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe put a little more integrity into the structure of the roof.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're making a roof, guys.
Especially when that roof is like so big. Okay, so that's sort of the background. That's already been happening. The hotel opens in 1980, July of 1980. So the whole compound is actually two buildings. So one of it is the actual hotel, which is 40 stories of guest rooms, and then they have a rotating restaurant on the top of it.
Oh, I love a rotating restaurant, and then they always break, and then they stop spinning.
Yeah. I've never been in one that actually was functioning.
I have one in Minneapolis and one in Duluth. I don't think either are spinning anymore.
God damn it.
I know.
Fix them. Those are cool.
They are cool, but I have to imagine expensive to maintain.
Oh, God. Well, it's not like... It's a custom project.
Yeah, and they're usually like in a roof section of a hotel.
Yeah. You're not fixing that.
No.
Not in this century.
But that used to be like a special occasion destination type restaurant. Now it seems a little hokey, but I'm here for it.
We're in 1980.
Yeah.
So it was the thing to do. Okay, so there's the 42-story hotel. And then there's another building that is a 4-story conference center. And then in between this was this huge multi-story atrium, which was also like the lobby, the bar area, just a big, beautiful space.
Sure.
The main feature of this space were these elevated walkways that were suspended from the ceiling. So these walkways, they were made out of steel, concrete, and glass. And they connected the two buildings on the second, third, and fourth floors of like the conference center. Are you visualizing this?
Yeah, and it's scaring me already because we're talking about things falling apart.
So the fourth floor walkway was directly above the second floor walkway, and then the third floor, which was in the middle of them, was like offset a little bit.
Okay.
So that was just a design. That was just purely for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Initially, the walkways were intended to be supported from columns at the ground level.
Okay.
But then, like, midway through the project, the design was adjusted so that the walkways were now suspended from the ceiling.
Okay.
Don't love that. Each walkway was 120 feet long. They were about 8 feet wide, and where they were connected to what they called stringers, the cables that they're suspended by.
Uh-huh.
So there were cables every 30 feet. So there were like 3 sets of cables on each walkway.
I see.
Okay. Each of these walkways also weighed about 64,000 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense, but I feel like I have that, like, megalophobia or whatever, where things that are just huge freak me the fuck out.
well, they weren't huge.
I guess, but that's really heavy. And it's a walkway suspended in the air by cables.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
well,
enough.
It was supposed to be like architecturally like very impressive, and it
Sure.
was. Okay, so the hotel's open for a year. On July 17th, 1981, the hotel hosted a little tea dance in the atrium, which is like, it was a thing in like England where you'd have like a garden party and then you'd have a tea dance between like 4 and 7 in the middle of the summertime when the sun's finally starting to go down. You can just kind of hang out and have tea.
Yeah.
They had a tea dance in the atrium. The hotel threw it. There was actually a news crew there just because it was like a big citywide. There were a bunch of people. There were like 1,600 people there.
Yeah. It was a whole thing.
It was an intimate crowd. And people wanted to check out these cool glass walkways. So above the party, on the second floor walkway, there were about 40 people like hanging out, watching the party down below. Mm-hmm. There were some more people on the third floor walkway, which is the one that was like offset.
Okay.
And then between 10 and 40 people on the fourth floor walkway.
Oh, God.
This is around 7 p.m. Numbers vary greatly on how many people were on which walkway.
Right. It'd be hard to know that exactly.
Yeah. So at about 7 p.m., everyone hears some really loud popping noises.
Uh-huh.
And then a loud crack before the fourth floor walkway fucking just drops several inches, pauses for a second, and then plummets directly onto the second story walkway, which then all falls down onto the people on the ground floor in the atrium.
No. I mean, I knew it was coming, but oh, God.
A patron that was eating in that rotating restaurant on the 42nd floor of the other building. Well, the atrium was in between them, but
No.
that person said it sounded like an explosion, like a bomb went off.
It would have to.
Yeah. On the 42nd floor.
Absolutely the fuck not. No. It's a no.
So
Bye.
the crowd was buried under tons of steel and concrete and glass. Mm-hmm. So specifically, according to Structure Magazine, I'm going to get a little technical here for a minute in case there's anyone listening who knows what the fuck any of this is talking about.
Great.
The bottom flange weld connecting the two MC 8 by 8.5 toes ruptured. The rupture was caused by the force of the fourth floor walkway to roof hanger rod nut on the bottom surface of the box beam.
Okay.
There's a picture of the box beam on the drive because that is specifically where things started to fail, mechanically speaking.
Okay.
Before the rupture, the welded channel flanges acted continuously between the webs. After the rupture, the flanges were cantilevered. They rotated upward from yielding in the web, which allowed the bolt and nut to slip through the hole in the box thing. That's what the picture is. The impact from the bolt and nut on the upper flange of the box caused failure of the upper flange, with the bolt and nut slipping through the hole in an instant. At that point, the fourth floor walkway became disconnected from the roof support, and both walkways collapsed onto over 100 people standing below.
Oh my fucking God. No. That's hell.
So the rescue operation took 14 hours. 14 hours. And was later likened to scenes from the Vietnam War.
Oh, I bet. Oh, my God.
They were pulling parts out from under the rubble.
Yeah.
It was so much weight and so much material coming down indiscriminately.
Yeah.
So visibility was very poor due to all the dust and also because they had to cut the power lines to deter fires.
Oh my God.
Because there's power cords and shit sparking and dangling everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
To make matters worse, the sprinkler system was ruptured, so it was flooding the lobby, putting trapped survivors at risk of drowning. People drowned.
Oh my God.
They're still alive under there.
Oh my God.
Some of the debris was too heavy for the jacks that the fire department had. So a lot of volunteers were working in like the industrial like building industry. Like contracting. So they came in and they would bring like their own or their company's jacks and tools and compressors and jackhammers, concrete saws, flashlights, and generators from like anything that anyone had available. They brought it in.
Ew. Ugh.
They had cranes to lift the really heavy debris. They broke open the windows in the atrium to put the crane arm through.
Yep.
In order to like lift stuff within the atrium.
Oh my God in heaven. No.
Deputy Fire Chief Arnett Williams recalled this immediate outpouring from the industrial community, saying, quote, "They said, take what you want. I don't know if all those people got their equipment back, but no one has ever asked for an accounting and no one has ever submitted a bill." Like it was.
Oh.
Yeah. They set up a makeshift morgue in a ground floor exhibition area.
Oh yeah. There's no, like, what do you do?
No, that's
it's
what
like,
you do.
Like you said about people, the images were reminiscent of Vietnam. Like you're basically setting up like a war zone triage.
Yeah. And I would bet you anything that a lot of the people who were there were in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Doing shit like this. This was in 1980.
Yeah.
Oh
God. This is some traumatic shit.
Yeah. The lawn and driveway of the hotel was turned into a triage area for the injured. Rescuers often had to dismember dead bodies to reach buried survivors because there were just a lot of people stuck into small areas.
Oh my God.
And some of them were dead. So morphine was given to the mortally wounded if they just couldn't get them out and they weren't going to survive.
Yeah, it's just comfort care for when for them actively dying.
Yep. A surgeon spent 20 minutes amputating a victim's leg with a chainsaw in order to rescue them. I guess the person's leg was like trapped under something.
Lucy.
And that person didn't make it.
Oh my God.
All the surgeon had was a chainsaw. They were just trying to get it done. Get these people out.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
No, that'd be the longest fucking 20 minutes of your goddamn life. And then you're dead.
And then you're also like maybe kind of drowning. Yeah.
This is going to make me fucking throw up.
I'm
This
sorry.
is so scary. I hate this.
The last guy to be rescued from the rubble, his name was Mark Williams. He was trapped for over 9 hours with both legs dislocated and almost drowning.
Good Lord.
9 hours, over 9 hours. So in all, 114 people were killed in this incident.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm surprised it wasn't more. Mm-hmm. It's not that that's not significant. That is fucking horrific. That is carnage.
Yeah.
But considering the like scope of the devastation.
Do you see the pictures?
No, I navigated away. Oh my God.
Yeah. It looks like fucking ground zero.
It's bad. It's really fucking bad.
I'm not comparing this to 9/11. But
no, of course not. But they both include building collapse and
the rubble, the steel, the glass, the shit everywhere. Stuck under that shit.
I don't think it's like offensive to see similarities between a building collapse and the aftermath, like the mess aftermath of 9/11. That's
it's just disturbing either way. 114 people were killed in the incident. An additional 216 were injured, 25 of whom were rescued from the rubble. They were pulled out.
Good.
So they saved 29 people.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean.
29 survivors made it out.
Yeah.
Can you fucking believe? Can you imagine?
Nope. No.
No.
The owner
Like
of
you
the
said, no.
No. The owner of the Kansas City Star Company guessed that the huge victim count ensured that, quote, virtually half the town was affected directly or indirectly by the horror of the tragedy.
Yeah.
Everyone knew somebody who was related to somebody or something.
100%. That's a huge, group of your community. It's going to affect everybody.
Mm-hmm. And oh boy, was there an investigation.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Among many other things, one of the findings was that the walkways.
Okay. Should I be scared and angry?
I think you'll just be dumbfounded.
Oh, God. Okay.
One of the findings was that the walkways were barely able to support their own weight, let alone having adult people standing on them.
Yeah.
And also, remember how I said the second floor was right under the fourth floor?
Uh-huh.
And instead of having pillars coming up from the floor, they decided to suspend them from the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
No one accounted for the fact that the second floor walkway would only be connected to the fourth floor walkway, which was connected to the ceiling.
No.
No one fucking calculated that the fourth floor walkway would be supporting the second floor also.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Babe.
So another conclusion was that the same thing would have happened if there were only a third of the extra weight loaded onto these. That like they were beyond overloaded.
Right.
Like it's kind of shocking that it took it that long to fail.
Yeah. That's
and
wild.
the hotel had been open for a full year.
Yeah.
At this
How
point.
many people walked across those?
Mm-hmm.
When literally at any second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my butthole is so clenched.
It took this party with dozens of people standing on the walkways for it to finally collapse.
No.
Of course, this kind of tragedy can't be boiled down to just like the engineering jargon, but the true answer is very complicated.
Of course.
Essentially, there was a complete breakdown in communication and oversight during the construction process. Like groups weren't communicating with each other at all about certain things. So the wrong materials were used, plans were changed, like from the ceiling now. Crucial design flaws just were fully missed by whole teams of people.
Yeah.
Tests weren't performed, numbers weren't double checked or reviewed.
It's like, were they just trying to build it quick and get people in there to make money?
Yes, that was the whole thing. They were trying to complete the project and it was just automated. And when you work on a team, you assume that someone has double checked this shit. And then at the end of the day, no one fucking did.
Oh my God.
So this was a cascading failure and many individuals, corporations, and systems are culpable, even though every defendant denied all legal liability. So in the months after the disaster, more than 300 lawsuits sought a cumulative total of $3 billion in 1981. So that's more than $10.4 billion today. But only $140 million was actually awarded to victims and their families from the hotel company, which is actually Hallmark Guards.
What? Whoa.
Hallmark is the entity that ultimately owned this. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was the construction company or the hotel company, whoever it was. And Hallmark is headquartered in Kansas City.
Oh, wow.
Which might be why they had that.
I imagine it would be.
So the single largest award was about $12 million for a victim who ended up requiring full-time medical care. Billions of dollars was spent on insurance claims, legal investigations, and city government reforms.
Oh, yeah.
So the collapse was the deadliest, what is it? The deadliest non-deliberate structural failure in the United States.
Oh my God.
In 120 years, because 120 years before that, there was like a big mill, like a big factory.
Like collapse or explosion
the roof
or something.
collapsed, actually.
Jesus Christ. Guys.
I know. Fix the roof.
What the fuck?
Reforms were made to engineering ethics, and it generated discussions around quality control, peer review, corporate negligence, and the responsibility of professionals to ensure public safety. So the person who was basically the main engineer on the job, the person who's ultimately on paper responsible, his name is Jack D. Gillum, or was. He died in 2012. He eventually claimed full responsibility for the collapse and its obvious but unchecked design flaws. And he ended up becoming an engineering disaster lecturer.
Oh, yeah.
There was
what a
quote
job.
from-
What a gig.
There was a quote from him that said something like, when I go into a lecture hall, like college architectural students, I want to scare the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So this never happens again.
Yeah, they're going into a field where like the thing you build, the people who are inside of it, their life is kind of in your fucking hands.
Yeah. Don't fuck around. Don't cut corners.
No.
Triple check absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Plan for the worst.
Yep.
But it also informed like emergency rescue protocols. Like there were a lot of reforms made on this specific horrific incident.
Right.
The hotel opened up just 3 months later. It has gone through name changes and remodels since, but the general design of the atrium remains the same. I think it's the Sheraton Kansas City Crown Center today, but a really big part of me wants to go see the lobby next time I'm in Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that morbid curiosity, but
I don't know that I'll go up there, but I want to look at it.
yeah.
Anyway, so that is the story of the Hyatt Regency walkway collapse.
Jesus Christ.
Kansas City.
Great job.
Go Royals.
Go Royals. Holy shit. Well, great. Traumatized and informed.
Yeah.
That is kind of your wheelhouse.
Never forget.
Yep. All right. Well, I need a second. So let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll get back to it with some more really awful shit. Why do we do this? Oh my God.
I don't know. We'll be right back. Father's Day is coming up, and be honest with yourself. Your dad doesn't need another mug or like a World's Best Dad t-shirt to wear in the garage. He needs some quality time doing what he loves. And with Turtle Beach, the #1 name in gaming headsets, you know you're giving a gift that won't end up buried in a drawer or like on a sweaty man in the garage.
Yeah.
And fair warning, once you see how good it is, you're gonna want one for yourself. Right now, our listeners get 10% off their entire order when you use code GALS at turtlebeach.com. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with code GALS. Give Dad, and maybe yourself, the gift of epic sound, total immersion, and a little well-deserved escape this Father's Day.
Yeah, I'm a gamer girly. I'm out there hunting monsters on my game console, and I'm doing it with my friends. And the second I switched from whatever like janky headset I was using to the Turtle Beach headset, I truly was like, oh, my friends are in the room with me right now. It's like shocking how clear the audio is, how comfortable they are to wear. They also have an 80-hour battery life. So like you can really lock into the favorite games and enjoy that well-earned downtime without any interruptions. Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. If that sounded really strange to you, let me explain. That means you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and PC with just the click of a button. And it gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. So like, even if you're not a game person, maybe Dad is making business deals all day and he's constantly on the phone. Why not give him a comfortable and clear headset that he can use for all of those important calls? And then that way he also has no excuse to miss your call when you are calling him.
Upgrade his gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, head to turtlebeach.com and use code GALS for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code GALS. Don't delay. Get the perfect gift now from Turtle Beach.
Okay, y'all, I got married almost 2 years ago and hadn't printed a single wedding photo from my incredible library of gorgeous photos.
You got a lot.
Oops. But then we got this amazing collaboration with Mixtiles, and I was like, hold up. Let me pick a selection of some of my faves. Let me tell you, that was a challenge because every photo is immaculate. But I ordered I'm not kidding, I ordered 40.
Oh my gosh.
Well, okay, so I got a handful for our house of just the venue, and they just, the options are so cute. They have different frames. You can do them frameless. So I love a gallery wall. So I picked out some for me, but then I was like, oh my gosh, this photo would make a great gift for Bill's parents. This photo would make a great gift for my mom. So I just started ordering gifted photo tiles for friends and family. And then before I knew it, I had 40 frames in my cart.
Hey, that's okay because it's incredibly affordable too.
It's incredibly affordable. And they arrived, honestly, within a week. It was so fast. I was really impressed. And the quality is beautiful. And they're so lightweight. And then you just have this awesome, peel, stick, and adjust way to hang them. So you don't have to put holes in your walls. You don't have to deal with tools. You don't have to deal with stress.
It's magnetic.
And yeah, I mean, I have done gallery wall fails so many times that a lot of my walls have miscellaneous holes where it's oops, I didn't mean to put that there. This makes that process so stress-free and so easy. You can easily move frames around without committing with a hole in your wall. It's incredible.
Mixtiles aren't just the easiest way to frame and hang your photos. They turn your memories into meaningful art. Who isn't going to go to your house and not look at and compliment a gallery wall full of a dozen of your wedding photos?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. They transform any space into something personal, warm, and full of life and memories. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't always have to be posed, wedding professional photos. Just laughing candids with your friends. Those are my favorite photos to frame and hang on my walls.
Venue photos, flower photos. I don't need a whole bunch of photos of just me and my husband all over my house, but there were a lot of beautiful moments captured on that day, and I want to display them, babe.
Yeah, capture the whole mood. Mixtiles also has hundreds of styles, colors, and size combinations. They make it very easy to create a look that is uniquely yours, tailored to your space and your personality, and whatever vibe you are framing.
Mm-hmm. So turn your favorite memories into stunning, affordable wall art. For a limited time, our listeners get 35% off on all orders above $139. Just head to mixtiles.com and use code GALS and you're all set. That's code GALS at mixtiles.com. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask you where you heard about Mixtiles, tell them it was from our show. Y'all, I'm an ADHD girly, and ADHD overwhelm is so real. I feel like I constantly have 1 million tabs open inside of my brain. Mm-hmm. And so often when I get up and try to get ready for the day, I just stand in front of my closet cubbies with total option overwhelm and then don't know what to put on my body that will be acceptable for leaving the house, but also keep me nice and comfortable. That's the last thing you need to be worrying about. So let me tell you, Splendid makes effortless outfits for everything on your calendar, even the things that maybe, if you're like me, you forgot were on your calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no compromise between looking put together and being extraordinarily comfortable. Because I know when I have that overwhelm, I just reach for the same leggings and sweatshirt every time.
Yep.
So Splendid is here to change that. Splendid has the world's softest closet staples to elevate your wardrobe and help you feel comfortable and confident in every single outfit you put on your beautiful body. Mm-hmm. Think buttery soft tees, pull-on pants that fit just right, easy sets. I love a set.
Love a set.
Sweaters for every season, and so much more. Their pieces are unbelievably soft, and they also, the quality is incredible. They hold up in the wash. You don't have to be worried about it. With Splendid, the basics aren't boring. They are your closet's secret weapon. These are the staples that simplify your morning and elevate everything after, even if you don't get dressed till the mid-afternoon.
Yep.
So from school drop-off to a dinner out, Splendid makes feeling put together effortless. They have nailed that sweet, sweet spot between comfort and style that is so hard to find. One of the pieces that I got from Splendid was this, it was sort of like a denim wash crop long sleeve shirt. Mm-hmm. I was shocked at how soft it was when I pulled it out of the bag, and it just gets softer after you wash it.
I got those denim soft flowy drawstring pants.
God, I'm so jealous.
Baby, I've been wearing them at work on the weekends because they just look so put together, but I'm like so comfortable.
Yeah. Feels like you're in your jammies, but you look like $1 million.
100%.
Dressing for comfort never means compromising your style when you shop at Splendid.
And right now, Splendid is offering our listeners 20% off when you go to Splendid.com and use promo code GALS at checkout or when you shop at Splendid in stores. Go to Splendid.com and use code GALS for 20% off online or in store. That's Splendid.com, promo code GALS. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
We got another doozy. I don't know. I can't believe that we hadn't covered this guy before. When I first started looking into him, I was like, wait, did I cover this guy? And I didn't. He just had some similarities to the guy that I covered in the Cleveland live show. If you know, you know.
The guy under the bridge that hacked people and sold them as barbecue sandwiches?
Yeah.
That guy?
But this guy didn't do that. He didn't sell the meat or eat it, as far as I know.
All right.
So it's a little better.
Don't give away the whole plot.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a really brutal story. All the trigger warnings. It's awful. Here we go. Let's dive in. This is a comedy show. Here we go.
Woohoo!
So April 2nd, 1988 was the day before Easter Sunday. And in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Kansas City, Missouri, a naked young man wearing only a dog collar around his neck desperately leaped from the second-story window of a house on Charlotte Street.
Jesus.
He landed and broke his foot and made it, ran, limped, crawled to a neighbor's porch, and that neighbor called 911, and this man was identified as Christopher Bryson.
My God. This is the opening scene to a horror movie.
Yeah, well, funny you should say that. So the house Christopher escaped from belonged to a man named Robert Andrew Berdella Jr. What police found inside of that unassuming white house would shock the city and reveal Berdella as one of the most brutal serial killers in U.S. history. He was involved in despicable, disgusting, vile acts of torture, rape, murder, experiments, all the things in Kansas City between 1984 and 1987.
Ooh, that's not that long.
Not that long, but he did a lot of damage in that time.
It's not that long ago either.
Nope. And the damage he did would earn him the chilling nicknames the Kansas City Butcher and the Collector due to his practice of extensively dissecting his victims' bodies.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, not great, not cute.
Totally takes them apart.
Yep.
The dismantler.
No, don't get all romantic about this fucking naming this guy.
It's not romance.
I'm stopping you right there.
Sensationalism.
Oh, God. So Robert Berdella was born on January 31st, 1949, which made him an Aquarius, which for some reason just like really fucking creeps me out.
Yeah, they shouldn't be violent.
No. He was born in Cayuga Falls, Ohio. He grew up in a Catholic family, though he left the church in his teens, which like girl, same. As a child, Berdella was intelligent, but he struggled socially like pretty significantly. He was definitely bullied. He suffered from severe nearsightedness, so he needed these like really thick glasses.
I feel that.
He had a speech impediment. He was just a big old target for bullying. He was also diagnosed with high blood pressure, and he had to take medication for this. And
as a child?
Yeah, that wouldn't be like all that huge a deal. Like you take a pill every day and you monitor your blood pressure, but as a result, he wasn't involved in sports and he was pretty unathletic, unlike his little brother Daniel, who was 7 years younger than him, who clearly had athletic talents from an early age. And Berdella's father kind of exploited this difference between the sons. He really valued sports and physical education, and he saw Robert's lack of talent in sports as a sign of failure and would often compare him unfavorably to his younger brother, which is really fucked up.
I identify with that. My sister played hockey and my dad coached.
We all have our talents.
And I read a lot of Goosebumps books.
Yeah, you did. You are very talented. We weren't athletes. That's okay.
Yeah, my dad's not proud of me.
Berdella did report that at least on occasion, their father physically and emotionally abused both him and his brother, Daniel. They were beaten with a leather strap, kind of like, it's fucked up to think, but that was like not unheard of, in the 50s. I mean, spanking is like
kind
still
of
a
norm.
thing. Yeah. That doesn't make it okay. It just didn't make it wasn't shocking. And he's not, I get the way, it seems like the way he talked about it in later, I guess, investigative interviews or whatever for trial. It's not like he would consider himself like a quote unquote abused child, but there was definitely physical abuse in the house and it was just normalized. That just was what it was. Berdella's father was 39 when he died from a heart attack in 1965. So Robert's dad died when he was 16. And not long after that, his mom remarried and Robert really resented that. Like he felt like his mom was just like replacing his dad. So we've just got some classic makings of a murderer. We've got childhood trauma.
Aquarius.
He's an Aquarius, which that totally doesn't make sense to me. He's got resentment toward his parents, and he starts to develop a growing curiosity for violence. All great.
Animals?
Yep. Around his mid-teens, Berdella's aggression amped up, at first toward animals. He discovered around this time that he was homosexual, initially keeping that a secret. He was out as an adult. But as a kid, he was not telling anyone.
Not adding any more logs to that fire.
No. A significant influence came in at the age of 17 when in 1965 he saw the film adaptation of John Fowles' novel The Collector. The movie depicted a man who kidnapped and held a young woman captive until she died. It's a pretty violent, I mean, not violent, I would say, by today's standards, like what we see in movies now is fucking wild. But it was a horror thriller, scary movie.
Yeah.
And Berdella later stated that this film left a lasting impression and became a motivating force for his actions. And this admission led to one of his creepy nicknames in the press, The Collector.
Jesus Christ.
In 1967, Berdella moved to Kansas City to study at the Kansas City Art Institute with aspirations of becoming a professor, but he did change paths. He was instead studied to be a chef, and he was like pretty successful. Like after college, which we'll gotta get to what happened with college, but he stayed in Kansas and he was working as a chef at like some very nice, well-known restaurants and making a good living for himself. During this time, his fantasies about torture and murder began to like grow in him. He initially found brief relief in torturing animals. At 19, he started selling drugs and drinking heavily. He was arrested for possession of LSD and marijuana, though those charges did not stick. I think he just like paid a fine and then they just didn't come after him more.
It was the 60s. Everyone had LSD and weed on them.
Yeah, pretty much. He was expelled from Kansas City Art Institute in his second year after killing a duck as like a quote unquote art installation or like performance art. He decapitated a duck in front of his school peers, just like on campus.
At like a performance?
I mean,
like as part of
all I saw was that it was for art, quote unquote, is what he claimed.
Well,
so he got expelled.
I'm not here to define what art is and isn't, but
I'm here to say I don't want to engage with that art.
No, I think if it's that outright violence and
alarm bells. I mean, he got expelled.
Killing a duck.
It clearly was not aligned with the mission. In another incident, he experimented with sedatives, tranquilizers, and other drugs on a dog.
Oh.
After
killing
leaving
it?
I believe so. Oh. After leaving college, Berdella remained in Kansas City working as a chef and later opening his own store called Bob's Bazaar Bizarre.
Okay.
The store specialized in like curiosities, novelty items, quote unquote, primitive art, jewelry, antiques, and was intended to appeal to those with, quote, darker and occult type taste. Let's be real.
I would have been all over that.
Yeah, we would have checked this place out.
All over it.
He had gotten into this kind of collecting after his mother remarried. He was angry at her, believing she disrespected and replaced his father, and became very withdrawn. His communication was mostly via pen pal letters with random folks across the world. He had pen pals in Vietnam, Burma, across Africa and Asia. Like,
wow.
Yeah, and they would exchange art, clips of cultural art, rare stamps, artifacts. Like these kinds of exchanges would become a hobby for him.
I mean, he sounds like he'd be a cool guy if there wasn't like...
People liked him. I mean, he was seen as odd, but he was pretty well liked. He was like, he had a good job. People came to his store. He had like this antique shop.
He always had something weird to show you.
He always had something weird to show you. But his property was a little, despite the unkempt state of his property and a somewhat haughty attitude, neighbors considered him flamboyant, helpful, and civic-minded. And again, he was out at this point as an adult. So like his neighbors knew he was gay. He, you know, the gay guy who owns the bazaar.
He was eccentric.
Yeah, and he probably just had like a lot of shit in his yard. Honestly, I can imagine a lot of people in my neighborhood that fit this description, and I'm not far from being one of them.
For God's sakes,
yeah,
it's not gonna not be weird.
He even participated in organizing local community crime watch programs and became chairman of the South Hyde Park Crime Prevention and Neighborhood Association in the early 1980s.
What the fuck?
Listen, keep your friends close, as they say. He had a tendency to befriend and take in young men who had fallen on hard times, men who were struggling with drug addiction and engaging in sex work. These relationships may have seemed benevolent on the surface. He would loan them money. He would let them stay at his house rent-free. Like, he took in a lot of strays. Mm-hmm. But there was always an underlying power dynamic, and the relationships were often sexual, adding, like, that layer of complication.
Yeah.
And while he's, you know, taking in these young, vulnerable men, his fascination with violence and control is really escalating. And, like, here he was with these vulnerable people who are literally not, like, he'd become known in sort of like queer male circles, especially young queer men who maybe were rejected by their families, unhoused, engaging in survival sex work, doing drugs. Like, he was known among these people as someone who you could knock on his door and you could stay at his house for free. Mm-hmm. He claimed he tried to help these young men that he was taking in to escape their self-destructive lifestyles, but he became frustrated when his efforts to steer them in the right direction failed.
Oh, like if he was trying to keep them away from drugs, but
that's what he
have
said,
an addiction.
But he was also drugging these people, so he's full of shit. They were just easy targets for him.
Yeah.
So his first known victim was believed to have been killed on July 5th, 1984, and this was a 19-year-old boy named Jerry Howell. Berdella had known Howell for several years. He was the son of a fellow, like, flea market owner, so, like, he knew this guy through business. Berdella promised to drive Howell to a dancing contest in a nearby town, but
dancing contest?
I know.
That'd get me.
But instead plied him with drugs and alcohol until he was unconscious.
Oh.
He then injected Howell with a tranquilizer, bound him to his bed, repeatedly drugged, tortured, raped, and violated him with foreign objects for approximately 28 hours.
Ooh, God.
Berdella ignored Howell's pleas to be freed. And according to Berdella, Howell died by asphyxiation on his own vomit, or possibly a combination of the gag and drugs. It was all just too much for him to breathe. Jerry Howell was reported missing, and police did question Berdella, but Berdella told him he'd dropped Jerry off to that town for the dance contest at Jerry's own request, and he hadn't seen him since. And without further evidence to dig deeper into Berdella, the trail on him kind of goes cold. They're still looking for Jerry Howell, but they didn't have any other reason to, like, check Berdella's house or anything like that.
For all they know, he went to the dance contest the next town over.
Right. After Howell's death, Berdella dragged the body to the basement, suspended it over a pot, and made incisions to drain the blood. The next day, he dismembered Howell's body using a chainsaw and boning knives, wrapping the parts in newspaper and trash bags to be collected with the regular garbage.
Oh my God. He's just taking him apart to put him out in the trash.
Yep.
Whoa.
Berdella kept a detailed log of the torture, a practice he continued with all of his victims. He stated his actions were not for enjoyment, but for, quote, physical and mental satisfaction.
Physical and mental satisfaction.
I feel like that's what enjoyment is in a nutshell, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guy. The brutality escalated with subsequent victims. Robert Sheldon, a 20-year-old young man who had been connected with Berdella in need of a place to live, was his next victim. He drugged and held him captive for 3 days in April of 1985, and Robert endured torture like drain cleaner swabbed in his eyes,
Ooh,
needles in his fingertips and under his fingernails.
Oh, no.
His wrists were bound so tight with piano wire that, like...
Oh, no.
It's believed that the intention of that binding was to permanently damage the nerves in his hands. Like, his hands wouldn't function because they were wrapped so tight.
He knew he was going to kill him anyway, so...
Well, he did.
He didn't care.
Yeah. But he's, like, doing these weird, like, experiments, basically. He filled his ears with caulking, like around a bathtub, so that he couldn't hear anything in the house. And then Berdella suffocated him by placing a bag over his head when a workman arrived to inspect and repair his roof. He was like, oh, shit.
Fixing the roof.
There's a guy here. I got to get rid of this. Sheldon's body was dissected in the third-floor bathroom.
Wow. Oh, my God.
In June of 1985...
The caulk in the ears is so gross.
Oh, it's horrifying. It's horrifying. It's like he was just trying out household items to see what impact they would have on a living being.
He was just fucking around. Mm-hmm. Wow. This is so disturbing.
It's fucked up. It's really bad. In June of 1985, Berdella found Mark Wallace, a 27-year-old acquaintance, hiding from a storm in his shed. So somebody that he knew who was likely unhoused, who knew like, oh, I could go to Berdella's house and just hide out from the rain for a little bit. So he sees him in his shed and he's like, come inside, get warm.
Oh my God.
Instead, he drugs him and holds him captive, and Mark Wallace endured a day of torture, including electrical shocks using alligator clips.
Oh.
And he died from a combination of drugs and asphyxiation from the gag in his mouth. 25-year-old James Ferris became a victim in September of 1985. Berdella inflicted torture on Ferris, including repeated 7,700-volt electrical shocks, acupuncture, quote-unquote, with needles to the neck and genitals.
Oh, my God.
Ferris became delirious before dying, and Berdella noted in his, like, meticulous death log that he died using the chef's slang 86, which is like what you say in a restaurant when you're out of a dish or like stopping service. So it's really fucking cavalier and creepy, and
it is so cruel.
Cruel.
Devoid of humanity.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yep.
86.
86.
Oh no.
In June of 1986, Berdella encountered Todd Stoops, a 23-year-old sex worker who had lodged with him before. Berdella, who was physically attracted to Stoops, invited him home and held him captive for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Stoops endured intense torture, including electrical shocks to his eyes and drain cleaner injected into his larynx to silence him, like destroy his ability to speak.
Melt his voice box.
Yep.
Oh my God.
This is really fucked up. Okay.
Shocks to your eyes?
I can't. I'm just going to get through this bit.
Okay, just go.
Berdella ruptured Stoops' anal wall with his fist, causing bleeding and discharge. And Stoops died on July 1st, 1986 from septic shock caused by the ruptured anal wall.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And that's how
languishing
he dies.
in infection and torture.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
His sixth victim was 20-year-old Larry Wayne Pearson, who became friendly with Berdella in the spring of 1987 and temporarily lodged with him. Berdella decided to capture Pearson after hearing him joke about robbing gay men. Pearson was drugged, bound in the basement, and injected with drain cleaner into his larynx. He was subjected to electrical shocks and had several hand bones broken.
Oh.
According to Berdella, Pearson was the most cooperative victim, and he earned his trust and was able to be moved upstairs so he could sleep in a bedroom. But after 6 weeks, Pearson hit Berdella during an assault, leading Berdella to bludgeon and suffocate him. Pearson's body was dismembered and his head was buried in the backyard.
Oh.
And Berdella even filed an assault report with the police against Larry, claiming, quote, Larry Person bit my penis. It's now this guy's missing, but
so he already killed him.
I'm not sure if he had killed him yet at the time that he filed the report. I imagine he did, because if he was here's how I imagine this went down. All of this happens. He kills him because he got hit this poor man was trying to fight back at one point.
Yeah.
Kills him, dismembers him, thinks that they won't find him, goes to the police and is like, this guy was staying at my house. He assaulted me and then took off. I'm filing a report.
He probably got off a little bit on being
close to capture and
also just fuck that guy. That guy was an asshole. He bit my penis.
Yeah.
I'm going to file a police report because the proximity is exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Jesus.
Berdella continued this routine until March 29th, 1988. So there very well may be other victims that he got rid of, disposed of, and we don't know. These are the victims that we know about for sure.
Well, the one guy's head was in the backyard, but
yes.
Did he dismember and throw away everyone else? And if so, how the fuck were they tracking these down?
We'll kind of get to it. I don't know if any of the victims that are confirmed to have been killed by him were ever found in completion, because a lot of parts just ended up in landfill. And if he chose to keep a trophy, then that would be what the families had to bury, essentially. But we know about all of these people because of what we're about to get to. So,
okay.
On March 29th, 1988, he abducted his final victim, the guy from the beginning of the story, 22-year-old Christopher Bryson, who by the grace of God escaped this monster's house. Bryson was lured to the house, knocked unconscious, and subjected to torture similar to the others, including ammonia applied to his eyes. Mm-mm. After several days, Bryson gained enough trust to have his hands tied in front of him instead of either to the bed or behind his back. And he convinced Berdella, when he was going to work for the day, to leave a television remote within reach. So he sees this opportunity when Berdella left for work. He turned the TV on so that people wouldn't hear anything. He finds a book of matches. He burned through his restraints and jumped out of the second floor window. Bryson's escape and call to the police led authorities to Berdella's home. Berdella was arrested but refused entry to his home as the police didn't yet have a search warrant. But they got a search warrant super fast. And so Berdella's already in custody. They remove him from the house. They have the warrant. They go in and search everything top to bottom. And what they find is...
I bet it smells so bad.
I don't even want to think about it, but it must. There is a photo. There are some photos on the drive. There's a photo labeled living room. So you can see the conditions. It was just a hoarder situation, just shit everywhere.
Yeah. This man's not cleaning up after the anal rupture either.
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way. So investigators found chilling evidence in the house corroborating Bryson's story, including burnt ropes on the bedpost, so where he had burned his way free, an electrical transformer, syringes, worn bedposts indicating struggle, a human skull in a second floor closet.
Oh.
And
that old thing.
And a partially decomposed human head in the backyard. Human vertebrae with hacksaw marks. Human teeth in envelopes.
Oh, my.
A bloody chainsaw and miter saw were found in the basement, and luminol tests revealed blood everywhere. Everywhere.
Ooh.
Most damning were the photographs and detailed death logs that Berdella kept on all of his victims. So that's mostly how we know who all of these people for sure are, is because
Polaroids.
He took photos. So there's always a possibility that there were others that he didn't photograph. Because I do wonder, like, this was really intense right away from the first victim.
Yeah.
And I know he was fucking with animals.
From animals to people this crazily.
I'm always going to have that sick feeling in my stomach that there are others that he didn't photograph, that maybe he didn't even kill in his home, that we just might not ever know about. That's always a possibility with killers like this.
Even people that he just, like, assaulted.
Yep.
Because also, if he is victimizing people in the gay community, then they're probably even less likely to go forward to any kind of authorities.
Oh, yeah. We'll kind of get to that. So authorities discovered 334 Polaroid photos and 34 snapshot prints of men in various states, many taken while they were being tortured, and other photos taken after death. There were also newspaper clippings about the quote-unquote missing Jerry Howell. Oh, I brought him to a dance competition. And the belongings of another victim, James Ferris, were discovered. So a special task force was assembled to sift through the mountain of evidence. They learned Berdella was known among Kansas City's, like, queer communities, specifically male sex workers. He had a reputation for drugging and torturing partners and acquaintances, and this is a reputation that police likely didn't take seriously because these men were vulnerable and gay.
Yeah.
Not my problem. You know? Families...
also, I saw you have a picture of his bizarre business card.
Yeah.
It's in the Old Westport district. The original Kansas City.
Oh, shit. Well, there you go.
Cultural district.
Well...
Don't go there, apparently.
Don't go to Bob's Bazaar. Which, like, why wouldn't you call it your Bizarre Bazaar? Why is Bazaar first? That
I know. I saw that, too.
That annoys me.
It should be Bizarre Bazaar.
Yep. Yeah, he tried to be fancy and he failed.
What an idiot. I hate him now.
Now you hate him. So families of many of the victims, they had reported their loved one missing, and they had to identify them using some of the Berdella photos because their remains were either gone or too decomposed and destroyed.
Identify your son by looking at this photo of him being tortured to death.
Yeah, I would hope that they would, like, just show the face, or I don't know how they do that in the most respectful way possible, but it's like, how can we possibly harm these people and their families more? It's like, it's so depraved and fucked up, and it's like, this is the only option we have because we don't have remains that any loved one could look at and say, yes, that's my son, that's my brother, you know, like you have to do it from a photo. Dental records were used to identify the skull in the closet as Robert Sheldon and the head in the yard as Larry Pearson, the guy who allegedly bit his penis. Former acquaintances who managed to avoid his violence provided testimony about Berdella drugging lodgers for sex. So there had definitely been people that went and stayed with him and survived, like got out before things escalated. Berdella initially refused to cooperate with police requests like handwriting samples. So at first he's like, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm not saying a goddamn thing. So he was initially charged with sodomy, felonious restraint, and assault, and bail was set at $500,000, but was later increased to $750,000, and then formal murder charges were filed next. In August of 1988, he unexpectedly pleaded guilty to the first-degree murder of Larry Pearson and was sentenced to life without parole. I think he just knew that there was no fucking way. His house was full of evidence. It was you're not getting away with this. And the death penalty was for surezies on the table. So I would imagine he was like, all right, well, I'll just plead guilty.
I'll cooperate now so I can maybe not get executed.
He later pleaded guilty to charges related to the survivor, Christopher Bryson. He was facing the death penalty for other murders, and Berdella entered into a plea bargain in December of 1988. So yeah, that's exactly what he did. He's like, yep, I'm going to admit that I did this to these, 6 people, take the death penalty off the table, and they did. He agreed to confess in graphic detail about his victims, the torture, the deaths, and the disposal of the bodies. In return, the prosecution agreed not to seek the death penalty. On December 19th, 1988, he pleaded guilty to one further count of first-degree murder, so the murder of Robert Sheldon, the guy whose skull was in his closet, and 4 counts of second-degree murder, receiving 5 additional concurrent life sentences without parole. So he was put away. There was no way he was getting out of there except in a fucking coffin. In his confessions, Berdella reiterated the impact of the film The Collector. He described how his victims lost their humanity once captured, becoming, quote, something other than people, like, quote, play toys.
Oh, my.
He explained the abbreviations in his torture logs, such as CP for chlorpromazine, DC for drain cleaner, and EK or EKG for electrical shocks. So he was like keeping shorthand records of everything he was doing to these men. He even claimed to administer antibiotics or nutrients to prevent malnutrition. There was one guy that he claimed he tried to resuscitate after he lost consciousness, but he died.
Yeah, I bet.
The level of abuse increased over time, and he saw photos as a trophy or record of the event. Berdella confirmed that he dismembered all 6 victims and put their bodies in trash bags for garbage collection. He did deny media rumors of Satanism or selling body parts at his bazaar. So at least there's that.
He resisted that temptation.
Yeah, he just kept them for himself. He stated his motivation included sexual sadism, possession, and control, often stemming from frustration with his victims' lifestyles. Why won't you let me help you?
Ooh, God.
Robert Berdella was incarcerated at the Missouri State Penitentiary, and in prison, he tried to rehabilitate his image, claiming he was a sensitive citizen who made mistakes and was unfairly demonized by the media. He also complained about prison conditions and wrote letters alleging officials were withholding his heart medication for high blood pressure. And he's a frustratingly dark spokesperson on prison conditions, but like that doesn't mean we should ignore it because prison conditions are fucking inhumane. But it's really hard to feel bad for this particular guy.
I do like that he called himself a sensitive citizen.
Get over it.
I'm a sensitive citizen.
I can't.
You're not that sensitive.
Clearly not.
Oh my God.
On October 8th, 1992, at the age of 43, Berdella died of a heart attack after complaining of severe chest pains. His death was never officially investigated, although some accounts have hinted that he may have been poisoned in prison. You never know. The judge from his trial reportedly remarked after his death, quote, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Which, maybe not.
He could have been poisoned.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
I love
that's the judge from his fucking murder trial. I'm like, okay, cheeky. Get it, Butterfield. So while Berdella was diagnosed after his incarceration with a depressive personality disorder and sexual sadism, reports indicate that he never expressed remorse for his actions. His vast collection of artifacts and antique furniture, everything in his store, was all auctioned off to pay for his legal fees. And then his house was sold and, thank God, later demolished. I can't imagine
trying not salvaging those wood floors.
No, but
you're not.
Also, like, why would you fucking want to?
No.
Like I was reading that and it made me think of the recent news of that very famous plantation that just burned down in the South. And it's like, fucking good. This should not, it never should have existed.
To a nicer plantation.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer building. Bye. Like, people shouldn't be gathering in the walls of such a heinous and dark and fucking horrifying
You're never gonna clear the juju out of that house.
No. So it's gone. That house no longer exists. Obviously the plot does. I'm sure something new has been built on it, but yeah. And he's dead. Well, bye, bitch.
Goodbye.
Kansas City. Yay!
Woohoo! Well, She is a beautiful city with some incredible restaurants.
Yep. Oh, the barbecue really is so good.
Yeah.
So good. It's not like the sweet barbecue sauce. It's more of like the vinegary barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that's my favorite. There's
love
also like a little jazz club. I think it's called the Green Lady Lounge. It's so dark inside. I love it. You can't see your hand in front of your face. It's
perfect. It's my ideal lighting.
I know. Great place for a first date.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you to Reagan, Ebert.
And sorry we did this to your precious fan pick.
Yeah, Reagan actually didn't pick either one of these topics. This was all us this time.
No, she sent some suggestions, but I like when I have freedom, I like to do a goog, and if my jaw drops, I'm probably going to pick it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is against my own best judgment and not great for my own mental health. But at least we did it.
At least we did it. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to this and all of our episodes ad-free, you can head on over to Uncorked. Go to our website and go to that Uncorked tab to find some more information.
Yeah, get signed up. You get bonus content. You get monthly happy hours. You get all ad-free content dropped the same day. Stinking fun.
Stinking fun.
You can also subscribe on our YouTube channel if you just want to get, spooky little bitch, drunk dives, and a mansplaining. You can subscribe for $1.99. Cost of a bucket of margs and some gator bats.
Absolutely.
We've got options, people. We've got options for you.
We're flexible.
We're flexing.
We're here for you.
We're trying.
We're trying our best.
We love you.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
I'm so sorry. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Danielle Sylvan. Music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell. Editing by Jonathan Camp. Our production manager is Andrea Gardner. For photos, sources, and other resources, head to wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can follow us on all the socials at Wine and Crime Pod. If you'd like to show your support and get access to all sorts of wine-fueled bonus content, check out our premium channel at wineandcrimepodcast.com/uncorked. Cheers!